Greetings, everyone who loves, hates, or is indifferent to Donald J. Trump. This is Proof of Pod, episode 16.
Crypto in the air, no sponsors in sight. The proof is all you need to join the digital fight.
Joining me today, me on his show, maybe he on my show, is Adam Heyman of Heyman Nature. Adam, are you there?
I am here, and I am one of those three things. I qualify.
Adam Heyman of the wildly influential, still going with that, I see, Substack, podcast, and YouTube show Heyman Nature, where history, economics, and philosophy are examined through the lens of human nature. Adam writes and talks about everything, and coaches people about poker. He is also active in the Libertarian Party of Nevada.
All true.
All right, we are here today to talk about Trumpcoin, the most recent entry into the wonderful world of memecoins.
That was a non-judgmental term. Well done, David.
Adam, full disclosure, are you a holder of any Trump coins?
I can speak completely non-biased. I hold no coin.
Okay. All right. And I also hold no Trump coins. I do hold Bitcoin and a few other things. So I'm going to do a quick timeline to kind of like catch people up in case they haven't heard about Trump coin and what's going on. Okay. So this is kind of like the price chart of Trump coin. We are in the early days, but I'm going to use this to kind of help tell the story so far. First mint according to SolScan. This is UTC. So this is 9 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. Which is where, most of our story revolves around, Washington Eastern time. Just kind of like without any fanfare, the team behind this coin created it on the January 17th, which was 3 days before Trump's inauguration at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, and like nobody paid any attention. Nobody would. There's just all these like activities that happen on the Solana chain. Anyway, moving on to the next part of the story is we had something called a crypto ball later on that day. So this is like supposedly like the first annual crypto ball. We'll link this Forbes article that kind of tells the story as well. And during this crypto ball on January 17th, stroke of 8 p.m. this says, Trump set social media ablaze with a bold announcement on Truth Social. The tweet goes, "My new official Trump meme is here. It's time to celebrate everything we stand for. Winning. Join my very special Trump community. Get your $Trump now. Go to gettrumpmemes.com. Have fun." This doesn't exactly sound like Trump. It sounds at least partially like written by his crypto team. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. So, and then this was also shared on Twitter or X at 9:44 p.m. And we have like the first trading reported on here way down at around $7. Okay, and strangely enough, people weren't sure what to make of it. Right, a lot things like this happen, and it could just be somebody hacked his Twitter account and set up this Trump meme coin. So it could be just entirely like bad actors, and nobody knew that it was actually for sure Trump, which is pretty funny. So it kind of like laid low for a few hours while people like weren't sure what to think of it.
Hate to interrupt, but just an explanatory question. This is kind of common for celebrities in general, right? Where bad actors will hack some form of social media, create some sort of bad coin, and then try to pump it up really quick before they get caught, something like that.
Sure. I mean, I wouldn't say it's common yet, to use crypto in this way, but it does happen. Yeah, it's happened several times. Just like sometimes maybe your friend's Facebook account will get cloned or whatever, and they'll message you and say like, oh, check this out or send me some money or whatever. Back in, I'm going to say 2002, my grandfather got a call supposedly from me saying, hey, this is David. I'm in jail in Vegas. Can you wire me some money?
A believable story.
Yeah, pretty good. They must have known something.
All right. So right now it's just that one post and you got all this activity?
Yeah. So like then subsequently he confirms, this really is my thing. It's not, some fake. So then, it's like rising in price quite a bit. And we've got like a couple days after it's launched, I have an all-time high January 19th of $75.35. Okay. So it went up about 10x in those 2 days. And then it's kind of, drifted from there. At the time of recording here, it's about $38 per Trump coin.
That just seems amazing. For a
Yeah.
market cap of
Market cap of, what does it say? $8
30,
billion,
38.
$7.5 billion.
In your analysis software here, or whatever this is, do you
This is
have
Coin Market Cap. This isn't even really like a great trading site. It's just a pretty reliable site that's been around for a long time.
is there any way to get any sense of the volume, the
Yeah.
size of these trades?
So this says volume $9.2 billion.
But we don't know whether that's
Oh, that's 24 hours.
right.
Last 24 hours.
But there's no way to tell whether it's a whole horde of people at a few thousand apiece or whether it's some really big movers.
Right. Okay. So is the basic story somewhat clear? Are there any questions about the idea? The basic idea?
It sounds like insanity, but yeah, I get the basic story.
Okay, so we have learned in the intervening time that this coin was created by the same team that created Trump's NFTs, which have been around for a few years.
Yep.
And it's kind of funny. I went to gettrumpmemes.com, the only official place to get your Trump coin. And it's got kind of like a, what do they call this? Like, it's not AI, but it's like a filter. He's kind of like...
Yeah, he's never looked that thin.
Yeah. Like, where do you get these pecs?
Shirt pecs.
All right, so you can buy it now with a debit card or a crypto card. And so when I went here, it was kind of interesting because they seem to have like kept some of the same terminology or wording. For instance, it says see card allocation here. Well, these are not cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that they just kept that from their NFT wording. So that's kind of funny. So yeah, the same team that has been doing these NFTs did this, and somehow like they really kept it under wraps. Like almost everybody was, really taken by surprise by the release of this coin. So I think a logical question is, who owns all these Trump coins? See that here under card allocation. So there are 200 million Trump available on day one, and it will grow to a total of 1 billion Trump over 3 years. Now you can see already something I'm going to hit in a few minutes, which is 200 million have been released, 1 billion total will be released. Each group's allocation are released on their own schedule over 3 years. So here we have the distribution of the coins. And I'm not sure how easy it is to read this, but it says 36% creators and CIC Digital Group 1. And then it says 18% creators and CIC Digital 2, 18% creators and CIC Digital Group 3. So they've had some kind of like funding rounds or whatever, or they're breaking it up based on like marketing and programming or, whatever. 10% to liquidity. Now I know more or less what this means, which is that 10%.
I assume it's a market maker.
Yes. Yeah. So especially on decentralized exchanges, there needs to be a pile of these things sitting around so that they can be exchanged between the players in the markets. Centralized exchanges need some as well. But I couldn't find out exactly what this means, because it could mean that CIC Digital and whatever still own that 10%. It could mean that they gave it to the exchanges. Supposedly working with exchanges to get your coin launched has been kind of a dirty business for a number of years. You kind of have to bribe your way on a lot of times. So that might be what it is. They kind of like bribe their way onto exchanges. It wouldn't be surprising at all to me. 10% public distribution. So I think that this is like when it says buy with your credit card or whatever, that's probably what this 10% is. And then another, 8% here, creators and CIC Digital Groups 4, 5, and 6. So the vast majority is still being held by creators and CIC Digital. And like the best analogy that I could think of, I don't know if they still do this. Do they still like sell commemorative collector's plates on like late night TV?
Made of pewter? I don't remember, but probably.
I know they still sell like little gold coins, like this gold blank with Indian head, whatever, Native American head.
There's still old people who watch TV, so I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah. So it's basically like, please, hurry, buy this collector's plate. Only 200 million of them have been made, and only 1 billion of them will ever be made. So you have to get yours now, And each collector's plate costs $40 right now.
Sounds about right. And presumably, if the people read the fine print, they know that the plan is to massively dilute the value of each one of these over the course of 3 years?
Right. I wouldn't say the plan is to dilute the value, right? But it is like to dilute the supply, right? See, okay, this is the emission schedule. Over here is 0 months. Here is 12 months. Here's 24 months, and here's 36 months. The first 3 months, there's no additional emissions. This is starting 200 million, and then it slowly releases over time to the people who made it and invested it. So yeah, like presumably, like when it is unlocked for these people, they're going to try and sell it and get something else. Well, it's a meme coin, and there's no utility to it. There's no monetary value to it as a money, like Bitcoin tries to be a money. So I think that kind of leads me to the next question, which is like, why would you want a meme coin?
Well, I have a couple of guesses about that.
Yeah.
It's probably two groups and with some overlap.
Yeah.
One is speculators who just love to gamble on crypto anything. And the other is people who want to support Donald Trump financially. I mean, I think those NFTs got a huge bump because people were just on his side, and he's getting lawfared, and we want to beat Biden and then beat Kamala. And so there's probably a huge psychological impetus to donate. Like worst case scenario is I give my money away and it goes to zero, and okay, I've donated to my favorite politician. And maybe there's an upside too, because maybe people will come in behind me and inflate this thing up, and it'll go to the moon, baby, and I'll get rich supporting my favorite politician. Who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah. Yep. I think you're nailing it. So the factor that outsiders, analysts, people who aren't caught up in the meme focus on is like the greater fool theory.
Sure.
And this is something like, if somebody offers to sell me a magic rock for $50, I know it's not magic, but I also believe that I can pass this magic rock on to somebody else for $100 when I get back home or back to town or whatever. Then I'm going to buy the rock thinking that there's a greater fool to buy that rock from me later.
Sure.
We could also, just say speculators and whatever. And certainly, if you are a full-time trader and this is your profession, good for you, and you can probably, make money on this. But for the average person, they're going to be the one who winds up holding the bag. They're going to wind up being the greater fool and wind up with having sold at a lower price than they buy.
You've seen a few of these things roll out. Do you think that the 3-year timed distribution schedule, do you think that's an improvement in these sort of magic beans, get rich quick schemes? I mean, I can see a lot of people just putting this out there and then trying to pump it up within 48 hours and then trying to dump everything. Do you think this is a way of them to try to be more legitimate than some other meme coin?
No, I mean, I can see this kind of release schedule a lot. And to be honest, the main purpose is to keep all the stakeholders from trying to sell all their bags all at once.
Right.
Right. So
oh boy.
It's a gentleman's agreement, but they don't have to actually be gentlemen because it's enforced, with the code that, no one is going to sell more than this, 20% in the first 3 months. And then, they'll start selling more and more over time. I think that's the main thing. I don't see any true legitimate purpose to it other than just kind of like reduce the rate at which it's like dumped onto the market.
Let me ask you a couple of questions because I just started looking into these things.
Yep.
How does this Salerno, I'm butchering that name, how do they make
Solana,
their money? And do they just exist to help people create crypto meme things? And do you pay them a lump sum, or do they get a piece of every transaction? What's going on there?
Okay. So you're talking about Solana and not CIC Digital, right?
Yeah, I assume CIC Digital is the Trump boys.
Yeah. Okay. Let me circle back to that in a minute. That's definitely something I want to talk about. The other purpose for meme coins, the other main purpose, and you mentioned it kind of like in terms of people want to support Trump or whatever, but it's more of like fun, entertainment, lulz, as the kids say. So if you think about like the entertainment industry, right, this is a huge negative sum game, right? You never go into the movie theater and walk out and sell your ticket for more than you bought it for, right?
Assuming you're not counting the economic value of the experience.
Well, exactly. So see, you're too fast. You're jumping ahead of where our audience probably will go with it. But yeah, that's exactly it. You nailed it, which is it's fun to, buy Trump coin for certain people. It's fun to like be a part of it. The most famous And first real success, as far as I know, meme coin was Dogecoin. The guys who made it, they didn't even like believe in cryptocurrency. They thought it was stupid, right? So they just made a cryptocurrency, and they put like this Shibu Inu dog or whatever, as the face of it. I have the chart here, but I don't have the famous picture. But anyway,
Everybody knows the famous picture.
yeah, the main draw of Dogecoin initially was, that's fun. It's a cute dog coin, whatever, I'm going to put $50 into it and it's worth the laughs. But a weird thing happened with Dogecoin where it kind of went into this third reason why you might have a meme coin, and it actually had a utility or a monetary value, and people were doing charitable donations in
Really?
Dogecoin.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, and this was like years ago, before like Elon Musk, glommed onto it and all that kind of stuff. So,
You can't have any food or clothing or shelter, but I will give you this imaginary asset that looks like a fun dog.
no. You got some guy sitting on the sidewalk with his coffee cup, and you drop
Yeah.
some Dogecoin in there.
Doesn't even sound like anything.
No. No. Instead, these people would buy the Dogecoin on some exchange and then send it to some charity or whatever. The charity would then sell it on an exchange.
Sure.
And so the friction, the fees associated with this procedure were, let's say I'm a donator, someone who wants to donate. I go to exchange, I buy it, I pay the exchange fees, the trading fees. I send it to the charity, and there's a really small actual transaction fee in the crypto part of it. And then that charity then has to take it on an exchange and sell it and get presumably dollars to do whatever charitable things that they do. So it was kind of an ironic coin to begin with, but it wound up having this value not because it was the most efficient way to donate to a charity, but because it was the most fun way, right? So I could give, $100 to some charity, and they, after the fees, whatever, they get 90% of it, or I could give $100 to this charity in Dogecoin, and after the fees, they get 80% of it. But I had, more fun donating in the Dogecoin instead of using a credit card or whatever.
That's really fascinating.
And Dogecoin has kind of like caught on even after that, like years after that. Where some
big
people believe
bump
that
when Elon and Vivek did the government efficiency, whatever they call it, Department of Government Efficiency.
Right. They've even named a department of the federal government after it, DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. So yeah, you nailed it. The main reason why you get into a meme coin is to speculate or to just entertain yourself. So you were going to ask about Solana, which is okay. So this is Solana over the past 1 week. So here's where the Trump coin was released approximately, and sold is somewhere around 220. And along with the Trump coin, Solana itself pumped up quite a bit, going to a high of somewhere around $300 here, coincided with the Trump coin high. And right now it's at 249. So it's gone up, a good 10% maybe since the release of this Trump coin. So Solana is the blockchain that the Trump coin is minted on. And Solana is, in theory, decentralized, a lot like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but there's certainly not perfect decentralization among those things. Ethereum actually has been in the news a lot because Vitalik Buterin, the kind of like the main creator of it, is kind of like still holding on to the reins of power, despite it supposedly being decentralized. And Solana, I am told, is a creature of San Francisco Bay Area. What do you call those?
The venture capital.
Venture capital. Okay, so I'm told this was a child of the venture capital, and Sam Bankman-Fried was like a huge proponent of it, and it took a huge crash around the same time as SBF and all those people went to jail. I don't remember exactly the dates there, but you can see 2021, it was near its peak, and it bottomed out pretty hard for quite a while. But despite that, it seems to have a lot of the same utility as Ethereum, with much lower transaction fees, called gas fees usually. And so it's managed to get higher than it's ever been, despite the giant crash associated with Sam Bankman-Fried and what was the name of his company? The idea that Trump's team chose Solana is really kind of an affirmation that Solana is good for this kind of thing. NFTs, when they had their big heyday, they got started. Most of them were on Ethereum, but the fees to mint or create a new NFT and transfer them and all these kind of stuff were very high, and so a lot of the NFT creators instead went to Solana. And ever since then, it's had a lot of the same. It's a major competitor for Ethereum, probably the major competitor for Ethereum. And we see here right now, it's currently the number 5 cryptocurrency in the world, and Trump is all the way into the top 25 already
after a handful of days.
Yeah, so it's not yet the number 1 meme coin in the world. But it's up there. So you have more specific questions about Solana?
I was just wondering, if they've been around a while and how many people use them. You answered that question, and I was wondering how they make their money exactly.
Yeah,
when the Trump team goes to do what they do, what do they have to give Solana?
So it does operate in a decentralized way, a rules-based way. So you don't give anyone specifically your Solana to publish your meme coin on the Solana blockchain. You instead burn Solana to do these things. So
okay. So you pay dollars for these coins, and doing things on the chain costs Solana.
Yes.
Right.
So when you burn Solana, it reduces the number of Solana in the system in the world, and that raises the value of each Solana, and also creates an atmosphere or a vacuum for more Solana to be generated, passed out as rewards for staking Solana, which means basically holding on to it in a way that pays you some interest. So hopefully that answers the question about what you pay to Solana.
No, I think I get it.
Okay,
layman's understanding.
Yeah. I can't tell you off the top of my head how much Solana you had to pay to mint each one. I'm not sure this is telling me what it is, but it's small. It might be a dollar or a few dollars, I would imagine, to mint each new batch of Trump coins.
Yeah, I hate to break into the meta conceptual, but anytime I dip my beak into this crypto world, I'm of two minds.
Mm-hmm.
On the one hand, I see this vibrant ecosystem of almost competing currencies. You'd think Friedrich Hayek would be pleased by what he saw here.
Mm.
But on the other hand, it also just all seems like a viper's nest of speculative asset bubbles that is fueled by a fiat money and, artificial credit. And just, it seems like a thing that just should not be. And I honestly believe both of those conclusions at the same time. I could do well in George Orwell's 1984. I believe them both at once.
Yeah. So that leads me into something I want to talk about also, which is kind of like the idea of what does this Trump coin mean for the greater crypto industry? And I had a couple of points on that. One is that it's kind of an affirmation of the Solana blockchain. But number two is the idea that the Gensler era is over, right? I saw something that was pretty funny to contemplate, which is that the Biden administration was not quite over when this happened, right? So it's like the end of the Gensler era. He goes out with this, Trump coin on the last 3 days of the Biden administration.
That must have felt really good.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Gensler's been the head of the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, and he's been, I would say, very anti-crypto is a fair way to put it. So now, it just seems like it's kind of the Wild Wild West era in the United States for cryptocurrency, where it's been kind of the Gensler, let's try to tamp it down era up in the last 4 years.
He never got, I'm asking questions now because I don't know. Did Gensler or the SEC ever get very far in regulating crypto? Do the owners of this Trump coin have to announce themselves? Do they have to issue prospectuses? I assume not, and I assume it's going to go in the opposite direction now that Trump has won.
Well, I feel like it's kind of a case of governance by lawsuit,
sure.
Where the Gensler regime sued a lot of crypto companies and put the fear of Fed in them, but didn't really succeed in winning those cases. But even just the threat of being sued and having to defend yourself is a big problem. One of the big ones was against XRP, which was kind of running high. XRP is intended to plant or augment the banking industry. And
is that a stable coin or is that something else?
No, it is not a stable coin.
Is that the
it's
bank's version of Bitcoin?
yeah.
Yeah, I got one right.
Yay. No, you're doing great. Yeah, XRP is up to number 3. So this one goes all the way back to 2013 or so. I remember having some of these, mining some of these. I wonder. So it was, on the upswing, and it's been around for quite a while. So I'm mousing over now, like 2021. So that would be the beginning of the Biden administration.
Oh, interesting.
After
Those spikes
Trump,
look nefarious.
it seems like it actually like went up quite a bit after Trump left office and Biden came in. But then Gensler like filed a suit against them, and I'm guessing that's right here, right? And then like it's been suppressed for quite a while here, and then they won their suit against the SEC. I'm guessing that's around here where the spike happens. I would say that Gensler has had some success putting a chill on the crypto industry in the United States, but he hasn't had success in the courts. Really, only had success via threat of being put into bankruptcy by the SEC.
And I assume that you philosophically believe that these should not be viewed as securities and should not be regulated as such?
Well, sometimes they are securities, right? I don't think securities should be regulated, really.
Yeah, me either.
Right.
You can abolish the SEC tomorrow, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. But sometimes, like, what was the name of the company that Sam Bankman-Fried had? Yeah.
We all knew it for a minute there, but I've totally forgotten.
FTX. Okay. So, for instance, the FTX token, FTT, was very much tied to like the fortunes of that company, right? So, and there are a lot of tokens that are like this, where you invest in it because you believe that the people behind it are gonna do well and create something of value. So sometimes they are like security. Sometimes they are like commodities, right? Like if there was something that Bitcoin could be compared to the most right now, I'd say maybe commodities, So I did address this on my show. Like my top wish would for cryptocurrency to not be regulated by the federal government at all. I just don't think that they're helpful. They can be helpful sometimes, but they're also hurtful sometimes. And I think just the net is we'd rather just be left alone. I think the worst of 3 cases is what's been happening, which is that the whole alphabet soup of federal agencies kind of like is trying to horn in and be the sheriff that regulates the crypto industry, but nobody really knows like who actually has authority over it. So presuming that we have to have regulation at all, I really think that it's the middle ground is have its own department, have its own category.
Interesting.
Regulation.
Nice libertarian wants a completely new government department. Okay.
Yay.
Okay, David. I want to present the alternate perspective, which is that if you want protection for consumers, it's probably a bad idea to outsource that to a monopolist, because public choice theory is real and government actors are self-interested creatures who respond to incentives like the rest of us. And monopolists have bad incentives. You're going to get too little of the good you want, consumer protection, at too great a price in feathered nests and fiefdoms and high salaries for these people. And remember, this is the organization that was supposed to protect us from Bernie Madoff.
Right.
Despite as how obvious his scams were,
right.
His sons ended up, I believe his children outed him before the feds ever got anywhere near it. So, yeah, I think it's important to have nested structures to protect consumers, but it's even worse for there to be the illusion of protection in the form of a government agency when no such protection actually exists. Fraud is already illegal, and you don't need a government regulator to make it more illegal or especially illegal or something like that.
100%. And one of the ironies of the whole FTX thing is that was the guy that was the company that was most in bed with the government. That was like working the closest, donating the most to Democrats. Especially.
They all loved him. Yeah, and he borrowed from Peter, or stole from Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
He would have made a good politician.
Yeah, but I think you might say like the fox is in charge of the hen house. If Trump himself, the commander-in-chief, the head of the
that's hilarious. That's right. He's issuing a meme coin, and he will be the boss of the regulating agency.
Yeah, yeah.
What could go wrong?
Head of the executive branch. That's the word I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really think like it's a huge sign that it's the wild, wild west, to borrow kind of overused expression, but
Do we
it's going to be
officially
very
know?
unregulated for the next 4 years, probably.
Do we officially know that Trump doesn't own Trump coin? It's his kids or something. Do we? Is that a known thing, or is that just speculation?
No, he's taken responsibility for it.
Yeah.
How much is specifically in his pockets, and how much is in the pockets of the programmers and marketers and whatever? I don't have any idea, and it doesn't seem to be transparent.
It's interesting. When a politician issues something like this, especially when I guess he did it after the election. I wonder if he did that to try and avoid campaign finance issues. And it also
Yes.
makes me wonder what the NFTs situation was,
Hmm.
because it's not like the campaign was selling an asset. It was just him. I don't know the laws exactly, but I could make an argument that this has nothing to do with my campaign. It's just me selling a building. It just
Yeah.
happens to be virtual and funny shaped, and I'm calling it a card.
Yeah, let's go to that in just a second. That's totally where I want to go. But I want to make at least one more point that I think is pretty important. The market cap is based off of the circulating supply, which I think is the smarter way to calculate it. So I have to change my point a little bit, which is to say that let's say when another 100 million Trump is released, sounds so weird to say, if the price stays stable despite that additional supply, then the market cap would actually go up. But I think it's much more likely that the market cap will stay relatively stable, more stable than the price. And when you get 50% more circulating around, it's going to have a reduction in the price of about 33% to keep the market cap roughly stable.
I've decided that you should pronounce it Strump.
Strump, that's good. I like that. Strump. Yeah, and then I don't even want to get into this because I haven't researched it myself. But Melania Trump's meme coin has also launched, but I haven't confirmed yet if that was actually hers or if some other individual created a Melania Trump meme coin. Okay. Anyway, so you wanted to talk about campaign finance and stuff like that, which I think what I envisioned as part 2 of this discussion. The first part is what is the meme coin and the crypto implications. But I think that this is
Well, we might as well just
mind-blowing.
fold it into one, because I don't have the answers.
Okay.
But
It'll be a very short part 2.
here's what I'm saying. Yeah, I hate to bait and switch the good people.
No.
But
I think we could.
But I do think that the argument is just to be made that it's just an asset. It's just me selling my house or my building or whatever, and the fact that I happen to be running for something, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with anything.
Right. So I think for me, this recalls President Obama's first campaign. I think it was 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And he was lauded for being one of the first candidates to really get out there with what we now call crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Where he was contacting people directly through the internet and getting donations that way. So this is kind of the evolution, I would say, of crowdfunding. Now, like you said, it's not going to his campaign specifically. It's going to him and the company that he's working with. But couldn't we see, in 2028 or I guess 2027 probably the campaign season, the next candidates for president creating a coin and funneling the proceeds into their campaign finance?
Yes, but if they did that, again, if I were their attorney, I would just argue all they're doing is selling flowers out of their garden, and then they are donating to their own campaign. And that's the only interaction that the FEC has.
Mm.
It's their own private money generated by selling their own assets, just as much as if they'd gone and worked for or given a speech for a half an hour to some really adoring crowd or company who paid them some huge amount of money.
So,
I could also take the other side too, but that's because money is fungible and all these laws are ridiculous.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. But I'm guessing that there's a way to keep these two things separate, because again, a donation is there's no quid pro quo. Obviously that would be bad. It's just
Right.
a donation, but these are ostensibly assets, even if they're digital ones, and people are getting something for their money. It's just a market exchange.
So what's really interesting is under someone else's administration, you might expect that the FEC would come in and say oh, well, you can't, make all this money. You have to register it as campaign contribution and use it as such. But since Trump has already set the precedent, then he's just, yeah.
He also did it under Biden's administration. So presumably they would have had all the impetus in the world to go after him, and yet they didn't.
Well,
They
that's
went
true.
after him for
Did,
a bunch of other stupid things, but not, not this.
yeah, he did do NFTs. I mean,
Same thing, right?
yeah,
It's fascinating. I suspect that you're right, and that these rules are going to get tightened up or tweaked because it's such new territory.
yeah.
But for my money, this is just more evidence that the entire concept is fraudulent, and you just need to scrap all these rules because these categories don't fit neatly into the prescribed boxes. This is an asset. This isn't. This is a donation. It just goes to show that it's like word thinking. The act being what's happening, money changing hands, is identical, and you're just deciding to call it one thing or another, and all sorts of tax and law implications derive from that singular choice. It's very weird. We live in a weird world.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes me laugh whenever it's like, oh, Congress is considering campaign finance reform.
Are they now? Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm negotiating with myself to decide what my salary is going to be.
It's the darndest thing. I've decided everything I do is great.
Yeah. And, I mean, you being, active in the Libertarian Party, I'm sure it's come across your plate that these campaign finance reform rules are largely two-party hegemony.
Of course. Yeah. Plus, we don't get any money anyway, so.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Who would want to donate to a politician who expressly says he doesn't want to give anybody any crony handouts or regulatory capture incentives? Freedom. Why would anybody pay for that?
Right.
You've been looking at all these, this field for quite some time, all these new coins coming out and being created, flying off into the stratosphere or crashing and burning. What do you think about the entire category, the taxonomy? I mean, do you think these are all just speculative nonsense, or do you think there's yeah, tell me what you think about the entire cohort as a class. Are any of them any good? Is it just nonsense? What do you think?
So for me, like what cryptocurrency is about, okay, for me is that, well, Bitcoin in particular, like Bitcoin is the best solution that anyone has come up with so far to transmit money digitally without having to accept the fiat money system, right?
Right.
It's, like a gold bar, has been around and can hold value, but it's you can't transmit that digitally, right? So as far as digital, not in-person transactions go, Bitcoin is the best solution we have to the problem of limitless fiat money supply. So that to me is the main thing that crypto is about. Now, that's just to me, that's what interests me about it. That's what got me into it in the first place.
Sure.
To some other people, it's about the technology, and there's a lot of cool things to say with that. And those kind of people are more into like Ethereum and Solana than Bitcoin. And unfortunately, to a lot of people, I try not to judge. I really don't but to my way of thinking, unfortunately, to a lot of people, cryptocurrency is all about the gamble. I did an episode about this on my show where I kind of ranked all the way different ways to gamble, right? And the absolute worst is just straight up getting cheated, right? And only one step above that is the lottery, where they hold 50% of all the money that comes in.
And they tell you.
And then they don't even give it to you right away. They make you wait over 20 years or give up another 50%. And then after you take it, whether you take it all in one lump or over 20 years, they're going to tax you about another 50% on it. Oh, it's just horrible. I mean, it's just awful. The people are actually getting back maybe 1/8.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the state lottery is first they had to run out of business as a criminal organization, bookies that were giving way better odds than the state gives in the lottery.
For sure.
But at least the state takes those proceeds and puts them in their public schools where they do such a great job teaching your kids, right? I mean, they're learning a lot.
That's why.
Yeah. Good old government.
That's why, our public schools are so well funded because of the lottery.
Yeah, so well funded and so successful.
Anyway, so above the lottery is, the crypto casino, right? I just don't think it's that great a gamble. But, if you have fun and the amount of fun that you have is greater than the amount of money you expect to lose, I'm fine with it. Then cheated, lottery, crypto casino, and then my next level was craps. I said, like, just go to a casino and play craps, and you're going to have a lot more fun. If you just like play the pass line and back it up with an odds wager, like the house edge it was like 0.3% or something.
You can't get it that low, but it can go to a 0.5%. And in fact, if you choose the don't pass, you can get it down to like 49/100ths.
Yeah.
Not that you should play.
Yeah, but like you're not going to win money going out to dinner. You're not going to win money going out to the movie. Okay, so at some point there's a balance between money that you're spending and entertainment you're getting. So if you approach gambling in this way, where you have reasonable understanding of expected losses, and you feel like that's a fair price to pay for the fun that you're going to have, go for it. And I think craps is a way better gamble than the crypto casino. And then above that, I had like, just buying and holding cryptocurrencies that you believe in is like the best gamble. So, like cryptocurrency is different things to different people.
Yeah, definitely so. It's very early in this market, and I'm fascinated to see how these things shake out. And as I said earlier, I do think that a whole bunch of this is, speculative bubble stuff and fiat money stuff. In a honest economy, with a sound money, I don't believe people would be taking gambles like this. I mean, it's no accident that in the 17th century, the tulip mania thing in Holland happened right when they were inventing, credit markets and forward contracts and people buying and selling for incredible amounts of money, tulip bulbs that they never saw, let alone actually pass through their inventory.
Yeah. Even the stock market was like kind of relatively new, right?
Yeah, in its infancy. So this is like that. It's the kind of thing that I think only gets legs in a economic environment, a monetary environment that's criminal in a certain way. I think it's fiat that enables this sort of thing. Because otherwise, you have to actually put on the table real resources, not just credit that you can stroke of a pen and get yourself a bunch of money to start throwing around in the crypto casino.
Yeah. Well, the whole system is like trying to drive you into spending your money.
Yeah.
So toxic, but they always say like, oh, consumer spending, boosts the economy or whatever. So in the short term, it does, but you're hurting the economy and you're hurting people's wealth in the long term. So the fact that you can't just like stuff your money in your mattress and like pull it out in 20 years and be able to buy the same stuff just inspires people to be reckless with their money.
Yeah, that's the problem with inflation. It was crooked for the Fed to even say they had a 2% inflationary target. That just means that's how much they're going to steal from you every year on purpose.
Yeah.
When if we had a stable money, like assume everything disappeared except for Bitcoin, as the economy gets more and more productive, as the capital gets accumulated, the capital stock makes us more productive. That will make the cost of real goods go down every year. The money in your mattress doesn't depreciate in value, it appreciates in value.
Right.
And that's what a healthy economy, an honest economy would look like. And we're so far away from that. People hearing the sound of my voice will think I'm insane.
Yeah.
And that's a tragedy.
So when you put it like that, and we're neither of us a fan of the system as is on the US dollar, like maybe you'd rather have a Trump coin than $40 US.
Not today, my friend, not today.
Well, again, I think that you could very easily, especially if you're a Trump fan, I mean, I am speaking for myself, I'm not a Trump fan. You could very easily get $40 worth of entertainment out of owning a Trump coin.
It's true. Yeah, if you really are a fan of the guy, especially during the contentious period, where it's the most important election of our lifetime. Both sides were quite firmly convinced of that. And without getting into the merits of that claim, yeah, if you want to support your guy and you think that the health of the republic is at stake, yeah, why not throw a bunch of money at an NFT or whatever? And if you want to celebrate Trump's win right before the inauguration, yeah, why not buy a strump? Give me a whole basket full of strumps.
Absolutely.
Not for me, but I get it, especially when credit is it's fictitious, right?
I think also like the dream is to like buy it and then sell it at a higher price, like if you could say like, oh, I bought 100 Trump or Strump, I bought 100 Strump.
It's going to catch on, man. Strumps.
I bought 100 Strump at $20 each, and then I sold them for $40 each, then I made like $2,000, and it's a story, right? It's virtue signaling because like I supported my man Trump.
And I'm so smart.
You're way ahead of me. Way ahead of me.
Sorry.
You're so good. So good. That was the next thing I was going to say. Proves how smart you are.
Well,
Agreed.
it did until I sunk that $40 a coin on some new coin based on a Chihuahua, and that just went to zero, holding nothing.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we've seen with, not to pick out one person, but with Nancy Pelosi is kind of like the leading example of what normally, like in other professions might be called insider trading,
She's
you
a
know?
criminal. Yeah.
Yeah. So is this the new way like politicians might like cash in on their fame and their supporters instead of like, buying options and stocks that they
Well,
know are going to get government contracts or whatever?
I hope at least this way is honest. It's
Hmm.
only your fans and other idiots that want to buy your Nancy Pelosi coin. Whereas if you happen to know that you and your cohort are about to pass this whole bunch of crony Green New Deal subsidies to a certain sector of the economy, and you happen to know the exact companies that are going to get these contracts,
Yeah.
then yeah, you can make yourself rich and it's totally corrupt. So I'd much rather not have that and have these people sell to their fans fake money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like on the plus side,
Better.
it's voluntarily given.
Yeah.
And there is some, gosh, I don't even want to say utility. There's
Yeah,
some
definitely not.
entertainment value to the people that you're selling it to, is maybe the right way to put it.
It's
Whereas some
yeah, it,
politician just like cashing in on their influence and their knowledge is
yeah.
benefit to no one except insiders themselves.
Yeah, it's way better than cashing it in the stock market based on insider, I mean, the effectively insider trading. It's also better than the revolving door regulatory capture where,
Sure.
the people who advise the war machine, whether to go to war or not, just immediately go to work for these weapons manufacturers. It's the darndest thing and back and forth again. And what do you know? we we always have a national security interest in going to war with Schmuckaborgistan or whatever,
Yeah.
and they get rich and we get screwed, and occasionally we get terroristic blowback that kills us.
Yeah. I think of it kind of like quid pro quo is like specifically not legal, right? But quo pro quid is legal, right? So
Right, right.
if you're a politician and you see that your predecessor was given these great speaking gigs in exchange for their, gentle treatment of the
Hmm.
giants in the industry that they're regulating, you might be inclined to do the same thing.
Yeah, there's so many ways to funnel money.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton's, Clinton Foundation. I don't believe that it was anything more than a slush fund for political favors. And I
Right.
think the, donation history based on whether she was in or out of office bears that out completely. And I got questions about these book deals. I
Yeah.
don't believe Kamala Harris is going to sell $20 million worth of books. I think,
Right.
I think this is all just corruption, legalized corruption. And yeah,
Oh,
if anybody's going to point fingers at Trump coin, I mean, Strump. I'm not giving up
Trump.
on Strump. Yeah, and calling it some form of corruption. I'm going to say, get in line, guys. I mean, at least,
Yeah.
as you said, at least this is voluntary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For not that long ago, like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton's daughter getting like this really cushy,
Yeah,
I think it was like
yeah.
$1 million a year job was like, oh, like look at how, this nepotism stuff goes on. But then we have the gift of Hunter Biden.
Amazing.
It's just,
Just amazing.
I mean, oh shoot, what was the daughter's name? The Clinton daughter's name?
Chelsea,
Chelsea. Chelsea must love Hunter Biden. I
right?
mean,
Can I take this guy's class? I don't even think
she's
they're hiding the fact that he was like at least pretending to sell access, right?
yeah.
I mean, haven't they just basically admitted that? That's not
Yeah.
illegal, right? He never followed through. I just pretended that they were going to get all these favors.
I was gonna say like Chelsea must think like, oh, I can, as long as I don't do as bad as Hunter Biden, like I'm gonna fly right under the radar. But maybe like in a perverse way, she's like upset because like Hunter Biden has like so exceeded her levels of corruption and
Well,
trading off her family name.
because her dumb mom couldn't win an election. I mean, you think
Right,
Hillary Clinton hates Donald Trump? Chelsea Clinton must hate him even more.
right. Good point.
I
Yeah.
could have been Hunter.
Could have been me on
Oh,
those mountains of cocaine.
that's right. I can take selfies too in a hotel room.
Okay, well, so I didn't really expect us to come to this conclusion, but I actually like it. I think that it actually makes sense. Where, okay, yes, it is like Trump, the most powerful man in the world, like cashing in on his election win, but in the grand scheme of all the corruption that's going on out there, not that bad. That's our take.
Yeah, it's benign. Unlike every day when the Fed counterfeits, money, and the dollars in my pocket become worth less, and I can't do anything about it. Unlike that, Trump doesn't cost me any money. It's not me
Yeah.
putting anything into it. Go
Right.
nuts, people.
Right,
Buy your tulips. There'll always be another guy around here to buy them for more.
All right. I want to close this out on one thing then, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Free Ross.
Ross
Go.
is free. Trump freed Ross Ulbricht, he committed to a campaign promise at the Libertarian Convention in D.C. in May, and we hounded him all the way into the White House. And just as he said, maybe it was day 2, not day 1, depending on how you count. But yeah, he gave him not just a commutation, but a full pardon.
Yeah.
And this was Wednesday night. Yeah, last night around this time, I think. The prison in Tucson set him free. He's a free man with all the full rights of a citizen. And people don't know the story of Ross Ulbricht. He basically got 2 life sentences back to back, plus 40 years for the crime of creating a website where people could buy and sell anything they want that was peaceful for Bitcoin. And the government hounded him like he was the biggest serial killer you ever saw.
Right.
It was a travesty of justice. It was completely crooked. It had a whole lot to do with Bitcoin. And I am just so pleased that the Libertarian Party had anything to do with getting Trump to do the right thing and set him free on day 1.
Yeah, and you talked on my program a little bit about his story and why he deserved to be freed. And I think you've written at least one article on your website.
Yeah. I think it's a story that has to be told. And again, I think it's all about the money. I mean, they rolled the tanks on him hard because he embarrassed them a little bit. And yeah, they're mad at drugs, but mostly I think it was because he was writing these Rothbardian blog posts and saying, we don't need the government. And hey, look, I can buy and sell things with money that has nothing to do with the US dollar. They do not like that. They rolled the tanks here in Las Vegas when people were buying breakfast at Denny's with a casino chip, and nobody cared. I mean, that they put that to a stop in the early 90s, and they're going to do that. You think they're going to allow the Silk Road to operate completely oblivious to the wishes of the mighty federal government? Got to make an example of that guy. And it was, I mean, he rotted in jail for 12 years, this young kid. I'm so glad he's out. It was a travesty.
Yeah. And one day I hope that you'll see that that's what makes Bitcoin superior to gold, that they can't roll the tanks and seize all the Bitcoin.
I'm not throwing eggs at Bitcoin in favor of gold. I'll hedge my bets and try and hold a little of both. I just have questions, I am one of these people that, I mean, we talked about this last time. Where does money get its eventual value? And Bitcoin, I used to think that Peter Schiff was right, and gold had just a much superior case to be made, that it is money and something that's virtual can't be. But I've come around to the use case benefits, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the species wants to use in a free market, and that could well be Bitcoin. So bring it on. I'm fine with it.
All right. So we can find you at HeymanNature.com and HeymanNature.substack.com. Is that right?
Absolutely. Check out my Substack. I write there or release a podcast 5 days a week. HeymanNature.substack.com, HAMAN. And also check out my podcast. It's a video YouTube show at Heyman Nature on YouTube, and it's also available at every podcatcher that is available in the audio podcasting world.
You heard it, folks. It's a video YouTube show.
You've heard about these video YouTube shows? They got these videos on the interwebs. They got cats and dogs. It's fascinating.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on my show, Adam.
Thanks for having me, David.
This on Proof of Pod, but we'll have all the links to Adam's show, Heyman Nature. So signing off for Adam, Heyman, and David Medley, this has been Proof of Pod. See you next time.
Stacking the blocks, yeah, we flipping. Crypto coins, we ain't slipping. Digital gold got me tripping. Just signed a deal with that Satoshi script, man. Proof of Pod, tech on the rise. Blockchain moves, yeah, we wise. Hodl tight, watch it multiply. Crypto life, can't deny.